To live happily, a person must have force. Force leads a person to one's goal. Force is attracted by discipline. Being with force and strong means having discipline. But why does the average person so often turn out to be weak and undisciplined? Because one does not know the magical meaning of discipline and does not know how to develop it. Today, we will present the practice of developing discipline based on the knowledge of the mystical philosophy of Nagualism. Anyone can apply this practice. By developing discipline, everyone can become happy, strong, and find a main goal in life. Watch the video to the end and you will learn how to develop discipline. What is Nagualism? The teaching of Nagualism became widely known among people of Western civilization in the 60s of the 20th century, thanks to the mysterious writer Carlos Castaneda. Nagualism is the mystical knowledge of the ancient Indians of Mesoamerica. The followers of Nagualism call themselves magicians or people of knowledge. Magicians believe that an ordinary person cannot develop discipline in oneself because one is stuck in the everyday categories of everyday life and has stopped seeking connections with one higher nature. Nagualism teaches that discipline is not an ordinary and everyday concept, but a magical state in which a person restores connection with one's spirit, gains force, and fulfills one's destiny. To become disciplined, a person must abandon a purely everyday vision of the world. Everyday man does not know one's magical nature and does not interact with one's higher self, which is one's spirit. Therefore, one is undisciplined and wastes energy, which leads to exhaustion. Nagualism teaches a magical view of the world around us. Thanks to this view, the universe is seen as an infinite mystery and riddle, in contact with which the spiritual nature in man is manifested and revealed. The man of knowledge is captured by one's magical nature and sees that everything in the world is connected with one's immortal spirit. Feeling your deep connection with the world, being able to interact with your higher self, building your everyday life according to the will of your spirit is the essence of the magical concept of discipline. The man of knowledge is disciplined, therefore one is strong and happy. To develop discipline, a person must realize one's threefold nature, practice magical not doing, and eliminate self-importance. The more success a person has achieved at each of the 3 stages of discipline development practice, the closer one comes to realizing one's magical essence and becomes disciplined. The first stage of the practice of developing the discipline is to realize the threefold nature. Since discipline is first of all not an everyday, but a magical concept, a person on the path of developing discipline must realize and use one's magical triple nature. Nagualism teaches that the magical nature of man lies in the subtle interaction of 3 parts of one's nature: the body, the luminous cocoon, and the spirit. It may seem that describing the teachings of Nagualism, Castaneda in his books gives a vague definition of the 3 categories of the magical nature of man. Therefore, in order to master the understanding of the role of the physical body, the luminous cocoon or soul and spirit, let us turn to another mystical philosophical teaching that spread on the Mediterranean coast and arose at the end of the 1st century AD among the Jewish and early Christian sects. We are talking about Gnosticism. Gnosticism clearly reveals the meaning and describes the interaction of body, soul, and spirit, representing these 3 parts of the magical nature of man by drawing a center, radius, and circle. The human spirit is the center of a circle in the form of a point. The point personifies the nature of the spirit and is a mystical geometric figure. It exists and it does not exist at the same time. A point is the smallest of all existing geometric figures. It means it exists as influences of a spirit in the physical world, and so small that it defies any measurement, and that is why it is not existing as a spirit itself. The radius from the center to the circumference represents the soul. The soul connects the center or spirit with any of the infinite number of points on the circumference. These points are symbols of the many physical bodies, that the spirit acquires during countless incarnations throughout its evolution. The soul represents the body of acquaintance through which the spirit gains experience. Gnosticism and Nagualism teach that man is not a body that has a spirit, but a spirit that has become incarnate in a body. Friends, any theory must be supported by practice. Knowledge should be applied in everyday life and contribute to its qualitative improvement. To do this, we created a community on Busty, which is a workspace that motivates you to improve your life, understand your own essence, and unlock your inner potential. In the community, you will find, among other things, special posts for subscribers, videos with scripts and podcasts published in early access, practices for developing perception and qualitative improvement of life, the opportunity to join the Three Sons private community, where you can communicate personally with the creators of the project and find like-minded people. Friends, support our project and join the Three Sons community on Busty. The development of discipline affects all three aspects of human nature and requires a person to improve the body, blossom the soul, and strengthen the spirit. To improve the body, it is necessary to heal it. A healthy body allows you to gain energy, relieve discomfort and heaviness, and ultimately gain lightness and mobility. Avoid food poisons. Do not use alcohol, nicotine, or other drugs under any circumstances. Eliminate sugar from your diet. Lead an active lifestyle. Engage in physical exercise, running, stretching, swimming, and other ways to develop your body. Do this and health will become your natural state. To blossom your soul, you need to learn to feel. Emotions are not feelings, but act as programmed, impulsive reactions to stimuli. Emotions lead to superficiality of nature. Feelings lead to depth. Feelings are revealed where there is sincere and conscious work for the benefit of oneself and other people, and the creative process. Learn to work not for money, but primarily for the sake of revealing your skills and talents. Money is not a reward, but a tool. The reward is the experience gained. Work sincerely and honestly and create with your heart. With noble experience, your soul will blossom. Your revealed soul and developed feelings will help you learn to interact with your spirit. To manifest your spirit, you need to learn to think and determine your goal in life. Don't forget that thinking is a skill that needs to be developed. Thoughts operate with ideas. Ideas come from faith. Faith connects you to your spirit. This means that the ability to think develops spiritual qualities and strengthens your connection with the spirit. A true goal must be stronger than your personality and larger than your life. True goal comes from the spirit and is not found in this world. The main goal in the life is accompanied by nobility, mercy, and philanthropy. Learn to think and you will find the true goal in your life. Friends, if you want us to reveal in more detail the recommendations for developing the body, soul, and spirit, write to us about it in the comments. We will make a separate issue on this necessary and very important topic. The next magical practice that allows you to develop discipline is magical not doing. Don Juan, the teacher of Carlos Castaneda, defined not doing as a person's ability to see and interact with reality, being aware of one's energetic nature. What does it mean? According to Nagualism, a person is not only a body, but also a luminous energy cocoon, reflecting the individual's ability to perceive and understand the world around oneself. A person's awareness is divided into three unequal parts or three attentions. The smaller part is the first attention or tonal, the larger part is the second attention or nagual, and the largest part is the third attention or fire from within. The world of the tonal is the world that man perceives through one's rational intellect. Rational intelligence builds the everyday perception of reality to which a person is accustomed. The nagual represents the sensory intellect and allows one to experience the world beyond rational concepts. With the help of the senses or the nagual, a person can become aware of one's energetic nature. The third attention is a person's ability to tap into the full potential of one's magical nature by reconnecting with one's own spirit. By revealing feelings, a person moves towards the third attention. Magical not doing allows a person to use the Nagual in everyday life. The tonal blocks the feelings and builds or does the world solely through the rational intellect. The use of the Nagual is atypical for an ordinary person and is therefore called not doing. Not doing allows you to perceive the world magically and develop discipline. Feeling connection with your spirit, developing your soul, perceiving your energy cocoon and strengthening the body as an instrument of the spirit in the material world is the essence of the discipline. The practice of developing discipline involves the ability to perform 3 types of magical not doing. Feel awe. The feeling of awe is a deep awareness of one's own involvement in the majesty of the evolutionary process of the universe. Awareness of oneself as a necessary part and participant in the great process of evolution, which moves the stars, planets, and universes, is available to man only through the spirit. When interacting with the spirit, a person experiences the feeling of awe. This is why Don Juan said that discipline is the ability to experience the awe. Feel joy. A deep feeling of joy is an indicator of the development of the human soul. Joy appears when a person is able to see the manifestation of one's spirit in seemingly ordinary things and events in life. The feeling of joy is based on faith. Faith connects a person with the spirit. The spirit gives force. A person filled by force experiences joy. Joy is the experience of interacting with your spirit. Hearing and understanding your spirit means developing discipline. Feel the love for the earth. Nagualism teaches that the earth is a living, sentient being. The earth gives life to all living things, including humans. Therefore, a person must build a magical connection with the earth from a very early age through one's senses or the Nagual. The most significant feeling for the earth is love. Experiencing love for the earth, a person experiences joy and receives help from the earth in building a connection with one's spirit. This fact is the most important secret of Nagualism. Friends, write in the comments, have you understood how to practice magical not doing? If not, then write your questions. We will try to answer all of them. The third stage of the practice of developing discipline is the desire of a person to eliminate self-importance. Maintaining a sense of self-importance requires enormous energy expenditure from a person. It fixes attention on the tonal, exhausts its carrier, and prevents the restoration of communication with the spirit. A person must get rid of this destructive self-importance. Discipline is the most important attribute in getting rid of self-importance, along with control, forbearance, timing, will, and petty tyrant. By developing and interacting with these 5 attributes, a person develops discipline. Control. Control is the ability to concentrate on your own spirit in any situation, and especially in moments of shock and stress. When going through the trials of ordinary life, a person should not forget about one's immortal nature and seek support not in circumstances, but in one's higher self. Forbearance. This attribute allows a person to focus on one's goal and sincerely work towards achieving it. Self-importance requires a person to be impatient, greedy, and stingy, making one to be nervous, twitchy, and exhausted. Forbearance allows you to move toward your goal and not pay attention to such manifestations. Timing. The ability to find the right moment to wait and act, overcoming the stultifying oppression of self-importance, underlies timing. Only one's spirit can indicate the right moment to a person. By tuning into one's own higher nature, an individual knows what to do and when to do it. Therefore, such a person is punctual and efficient. Will. Will is an individual's ability to direct and focus on something, the current of force from the spirit. Magicians call this skill intention. The will is revealed through the Nagual and the structured and orderly daily life that sorcerers call the strong tonal. A person who builds a connection with the spirit knows how to activate one's feelings and organizes one's life, and the surrounding space is a strong-willed person with a strong tonal. The one who sows chaos, confusion, and disorder is a weak-willed person with a weak tonal. Petty tyrant. According to Nagualism, a petty tyrant for magicians is a person when interacting with whom the magician must show will, control, forbearance, and timing. For an ordinary person, the main tyrannizing force is one's own stupidity. Everyone must make a strong-willed effort to overcome their stupidity, control their condition, practice forbearance. This is how one acts at the right moment without delay or expectation when the situation requires it. This is how a person learns and organizes order around oneself. The word discipline is translated from Latin as learning and order. By overcoming stupidity, an individual becomes disciplined. Every person is a magical being. To realize this truth, a person needs to be disciplined. To develop discipline, you need to realize your threefold magical nature, use the practice of magical not doing, and eliminate self-importance. The development of discipline is not an intellectual act but a magical act. Discipline allows a person to build a connection with one's own spirit. The spirit leads an individual along the path which has a heart. This is how any mortal finds one's destiny and becomes equal to the gods.